God's shocking revelation, everything aligns for you at 3 a.m., don't miss this divine message. The clock struck 3. Silence blanketed the streets, yet a higher energy pulsed beneath the surface. This was no ordinary hour. People whispered about the change in the air, a riot of strange coincidences that spilled into nightly conversations. They called it the witching hour, a time when the veil was thin, when the ordinary turned twisted under the glow of the moon. Some called it the hour of miracles, others better understood the chill that raced across their skin, the feeling of unseen eyes watching. In a small apartment, Jenna sat on her bed, her heart pounding like a wild drum. She had been reading about the phenomenon for weeks, how the universe aligned at exactly 3 a.m. to send messages, hidden truths revealed only to the chosen. And now, without warning, her phone buzzed violently on the nightstand, as if a spirit had possessed it. She immediately froze, muscles tensed, every hair on her arm standing at attention. What she found made her blood run cold, a text from her long-lost friend, Ethan, someone she hadn't heard from in years, saying simply, "Meet me at the old church, you have to see this." Strange waves of fear and curiosity coursed through her. Why now, at this hour? The memories of their last confrontation hit her like a punch, guilt weighing heavy on her chest. She found herself clenching her hands, nails digging into her palms as doubt swirled. Was this a trap or a genuine plea? With the clock counting down, she was torn between her past and an unexpected future lurking just beyond her door. Outside, shadows danced in the flickering street lamps, a blend of mystery and morbid beauty. People in the neighborhood reported chilling encounters, voices calling from the dark, fleeting figures in the rearview mirror, odd remnants of forgotten pointers in their lives twisting as if guided by some unseen force. Did everyone feel this strange pull at 3 a.m.? The question loomed larger in Jenna's mind, gnawing at her resolve. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed from her door, sending her heart racing even faster. She held her breath. Was it Ethan? Or something more sinister? The air thickened, fear sinking deep into her bones. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With her heart throbbing in her chest, Jenna mustered the strength to answer. What could be waiting for her on the other side? Would the truth unveil itself, or would darkness close in tighter, sealing her fate? The night's mystery deepened, and Jenna stood on the threshold of revelation, one step away from either salvation or the plunge into the unknown. Would she dare open that door? Jenna's hand shook as she reached for the doorknob. The soft knock echoed again, insistent now, a whisper laced with urgency. Jenna. A voice seeped through the wood, and her breath hitched in her throat. It was Ethan. But how could he have found her? Memories of their last meeting came flooding back, words unspoken hanging in the tense air between them. Ethan? She breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. Please, just open the door. Her heart raced. She could feel the dread creeping through her, merging with the curiosity that beckoned her to open up. She hesitated, debating quickly. What if this was a trick? The knocking grew more frantic as he called her name again. I don't have time. You need to see this, Jenna, right now. She pressed her ear against the door, straining to hear. What was so urgent? The chill of the night settled deep into her bones. Thoughts collided in her mind, weaving memories into a fear-fueled tapestry. Why now, Ethan? She finally managed to ask, steadying herself. Something's wrong. Something big. He sounded desperate. Just trust me. I wouldn't come unless I had to, I promise, it's worth it. Jenna's fingers finally found the knob, twisting it slowly. The door creaked open, revealing the silhouette of her long-lost friend. His face was pale, eyes wide, glimmering with an intensity that sent a jolt through her. This was not the boy she once knew. "Come on," he urged, stepping inside, irritation mixed with urgency. "We don't have time." Before she could protest, he turned and led her out into the dark night. The door swung shut behind them with a soft thud. Jenna's heart raced, both with fear and an inexplicable thrill. As they walked down the empty street, the atmosphere shifted. A low hum thrummed beneath their feet, resonating in her chest, as if the earth was alive with unseen energy. The world appeared different, the shadows deeper, the silence louder. "Jenna, I didn't come to scare you. I came because you need to understand what is happening," Ethan said, glancing over his shoulder as they hurried down the sidewalk. "Things are aligning. It's like the universe has shifted, and we have to be ready." Jenna felt her stomach twist. "Aligning? What are you talking about?" "I found something. At the old church. It's big, Jenna. Bigger than us." He paused, looking around as if expecting someone or something to leap from the shadows. "You need to see it for yourself." They approached the church, its shadow looming against the moonlit sky. The air felt heavier, a pressure pressing against them. As they neared the entrance, Jenna hesitated. The door swung open with a gust of wind that carried an unspeakable chill. Ethan turned, gripping her shoulders fiercely. "You need to be ready. Once you see, there's no turning back." With a swift intake of breath, Jenna entered the church. The interior was cloaked in darkness, illuminated only by a flickering candle on the altar at the front. An indescribable energy hummed in the air, vibrating through the stone walls. "What is this place?" she whispered, unease creeping back into her heart. "You'll find out soon enough," Ethan replied, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "Just wait." As they stepped deeper into the gloom, Jenna's pulse quickened. The darkness seemed to ripple, shadows stretching and contracting, pulsating with life. She had never felt such raw, primal energy as she did now. What awaited them in the heart of that ancient building? Was it salvation or something much darker? Before she could ponder any further, a loud crashing noise erupted from the rear of the church, shattering the tense silence. Jenna and Ethan froze, eyes wide with shock. "What was that?" she gasped, heart hammering. "I don't know, but we need to find out." The air thickened with an ominous weight as they turned toward the source of the noise. Uncertainty clawed at Jenna's mind, and she knew nothing would be the same again. What secrets lay waiting in the shadows? Would their confrontation with truth lead them to freedom or to despair? The tension hung in the air as Jenna and Ethan hesitated, hearts thundering in their chests. The darkness in the church seemed to breathe, shadowy figures flitting just beyond sight. Another crash reverberated through the cold stone walls, followed by a guttural growl that made Jenna's skin prickle. "Maybe we should leave," she whispered, her voice trembling. Every instinct screamed at her to turn back, to flee into the safety of the night. "Not yet," Ethan replied, his expression hardening. "We need to know what's happening. It's linked to us, Jenna." Before she could respond, he turned on his heel and sprinted towards the source of the noise, his figure swallowed by the blackness. A surge of panic gripped Jenna, but she followed, propelled by a mix of fear and the flicker of courage ignited by their shared history. "Ethan!" she called out, her voice echoing off the cold stone. They dashed deeper into the bowels of the church, the flickering candlelight ahead revealing warped shadows dancing on the walls like tortured souls. When they turned the corner, they stumbled upon a scene that froze Jenna's blood, gripping her heart in an icy fist. An altar that, moments ago, had hosted a solitary candle was now littered with shattered glass and scattered pages, illuminated by a strange, sickly green light emanating from a large book sitting in the center. It's the grimoire," Ethan breathed, eyes wide. Jenna walked closer, entranced. The book, ancient and weathered, was bound in what appeared to be dark leather, the pages edged in gold. Symbols she couldn't recognize glimmered with the same eerie glow as they pulsed under her touch. Everything felt wrong. What does it mean? She murmured, trying to make sense of the chaotic energy swirling around them. It's a call, a message from something greater. Before he could finish, the growl erupted again, louder and closer this time, echoing throughout the church like a sinister warning. Jenna spun around, her heart racing. This was no simple broken window or misplaced object, something otherworldly was present. "Ethan, we have to!" The noise roared again, and with it came a blaze of light that illuminated a shadow in the corner, lurking like a predator waiting to strike. Jenna gasped. A figure emerged, tall and cloaked in shadows, with eyes that seemed to glisten with malice. Ethan reached for Jenna's arm, gripping it tightly. "Run!" he shouted, pulling her back towards the entrance, but they didn't get far, as the figure lunged forward, a flash of raw power crackling through the air. Jenna stumbled, feeling the weight of the darkness press down on her soul. Adrenaline surged, and she felt the cold grip of fear start to fall away. Then she heard it, the whispers from the grimoire. It was calling her, pulling her closer. She glanced back at Ethan, whose face was set, determination merging with fear. "Jenna. It's not just about us. If we don't act, this thing won't stop." The figure shifted, and Jenna suddenly saw a face, remnants of someone she thought she recognized. "Help me," it rasped, voice disembodied yet familiar. She took a deep breath, balancing on the line between terror and the undeniable lure of knowledge, of connection. What if purging this darkness required something deeper than running away? The air crackled with tension as the figure stepped closer, its form wavering like a mirage, challenging her to step forward. In that moment, Jenna felt time freeze. Was this the alignment Ethan spoke of? A choice to face whatever this was or retreat into oblivion? "It's now or never, Jenna," Ethan urged, heart racing as they both stood on the edge of the unknown. As the creature loomed closer, the whispers grew louder, drowning out all reason. What would she choose? The future hung in the balance, the answers teetering just out of reach, swathed in shadows and secrets. Now, the real question was, which way would they step into the dark? Jenna stood there, paralyzed. The shadows danced around her, flickering like a cruel joke, and the weight of the moment pressed on her chest. Something inside her stirred, an instinct she couldn't ignore. Ethan's grip tightened as he pulled her back, but she didn't want to move. "Not yet. Jenna." Panic edged his voice. "We can't stay here." But the creature's form melted away the edges of her fear. "Help me," echoed in her mind, familiar yet haunting. She could see the figure clearer now, a twisted reflection of someone she'd lost, someone she had buried deep in the past. Ethan's whisper broke through. "If we don't act, it'll take everything. This isn't just a specter, Jenna. It feels hungry." The growl had shifted. It was no longer a threat. It became a call, a plea mingled with desperation. Jenna stepped forward, compelled by an invisible force. "What do you want from me?" she demanded, voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. The figure faltered, and for a brief second, she felt the warmth radiate from it, as if it were not a monster, but an echo of her own soul. "Find the truth," it replied, and though its voice was shrouded in darkness, there was an undeniable urgency. "Only then can you both survive." "Find the truth?" Jenna echoed, glancing back at Ethan, whose expression was an unsettling mix of fear and agreement. Before she could process what was happening, the grimoire pulsed again, the symbols glowing brighter as if in response to the creature's words. Suddenly, it flared, sending a wave of energy through the church. Books flew off the shelves. Dust erupted from corners long neglected. "Get back!" Ethan yelled, shoving Jenna behind him, but she was already in motion, stepping forward. "I can't let this happen," she yelled, more to herself than anyone else. Knowledge called for her, weaving through the chaos like a lifeline. The symbols danced before her in a pattern she could almost grasp. An understanding flickered, too quick to hold, teasing her awareness just out of reach. The beast behind them surged, dark energy slicing through the air. Jenna could feel the hot breath of the creature, rancid and foreboding, as it pulled at her resolve. Yet, the whispers from the grimoire intensified, wrapping around her with promises of strength. "Jenna!" Ethan was shouting, his voice merging with the chaos. "We have to leave." But this was their chance. "No!" she insisted, forcing herself to stay rooted. "Ethan, we have to learn what it wants, what it's guarding." She closed her eyes for a heartbeat, and a single word rang out, echoing in her mind. Penance. Her ears perked up, transforming that single thought into an urgent question. Could that be connected? Was it the key to understanding the darkness before them? The air shimmered as the figure shifted again, mirroring her thoughts. To face what has been lost. You must act. Jenna's heart raced. That familiar voice. Delving deeper, she tried to remember, what had she done to deserve this? What had happened long ago? She felt a heavy weight settle in her chest, memories surfacing like dark clouds. Suddenly, the figure lunged, and Jenna's instinct kicked in. What about the truth? She shouted, reaching for the grimoire. The ground shuddered, stone cracking under the raw energy unleashed as their surroundings warped. Shadows swirled, thickening into shapes. This was beyond anything she had ever encountered, the question of her past and the figure's plea intertwined, threatening to consume her. What do I need to know? She screamed, desperate. The atmosphere pulsed around her, almost breathing with her, but just as the truth began to slip through her fingers, a deafening silence fell. The looming darkness froze, and Jenna found herself staring at the grimoire, now glowing fiercely, a trembling light beckoning her closer. In that moment of stillness, she sensed something profound. The answers were hidden in the cracks of her own history, a darker truth waiting patiently for recognition. "Ethan," she whispered, turning to him, "I think I know why this is happening." But before she could finish her thought, the church erupted in a fury of light and sound, pulling them into an abyss of energy and despair. As the last remnants of their reality twisted into uncertainty, something torn from deep within her broke free. A scream mingled with a promise, binding them to a destiny that had always been lurking just beneath the surface. What truth awaited them, and would it bring salvation or doom? It was a question that loomed over them like a storm, threatening to wash away everything they thought they understood. And as the darkness closed around them, one thought pierced through: there was no turning back now. The world around Jenna exploded into chaos, light clashing with darkness as if they were two titans battling for supremacy. She felt weightless, suspended in time, floating between dread and an overwhelming pull toward clarity. The whispers from the grimoire had transformed, morphing into an unsettling chorus of voices echoing in her mind, urging her to awaken. "Jenna! Remember!" The voices cried, their tones rising and falling like waves crashing against the shore. She clutched the grimoire, her fingers trembling against its ancient surface, seeking knowledge that was just beyond her grasp. "Jenna, hold on to me." Ethan's desperate call sliced through the noise, grounding her in the storm. She turned instinctively, eyes catching his wide expression filled with fear and determination. "No!" she gasped as the shadows flared violently behind him, a monstrous roil of darkness creeping closer. "If we go back, we'll lose our chance." "Chance? Look at this place. It's coming apart." He scanned the fraying walls, fear unmasking his resolve, but there was something more, a flicker of trust wavering beneath his panic. She reached for him, the warmth of his hand grounding her like gravity. "We have to find it. The truth. We can't let it go." The church trembled, timber creaking with an ominous energy that seemed to relish their struggle. "I don't know what's happening," he shouted, terror eating away at his composure. "You're calling to a ghost, Jenna." "Not a ghost," she replied fiercely, locking eyes with the looming figure swirling in the black. "A part of me. It's trying to tell me something." The being shifted again, forming into something more human-like, its sorrowful gaze piercing through the fray. "Penance awaits," it murmured. Jenna felt the chills sifting through her, every word laced with loss and urgency. A horrible realization flooded her. The penance, the mistakes I made. She could feel the painful knots of her past tightening in her chest, memories that she had tried to bury clawing their way to the surface. "What mistakes?" "Jenna," Ethan pleaded, his grip tightening around her arm as the shadows crept ever closer. "I hurt people," she confessed, voice trembling. "People I loved. I took things for granted. But the realization morphed into something greater, igniting a vengeance within her. The creature behind them wasn't just a specter, it was the keeper of her forgotten sins. "It's here to show me the truth of my past, Ethan. It wants me to confront what I refuse to acknowledge." "Confront?" He shot back, fear washed in disbelief. "What if the truth kills us?" The air pulsed with charged energy, and as Jenna took a step forward, a shard of fire ignited in her chest. "Then we fight together," she said, conviction resonating in her voice. "For every mistake, every regret, there is a chance for atonement. I'll face whatever it is." "No, Jenna." Ethan's voice broke with desperation. "You can't do this alone." But even as he said those words, she felt drawn to the figure, a compulsion echoing through her bones. It called for her, whispering about redemption and hope amidst the decay of what once was. "Jenna!" Ethan shouted, but the shadows whispered louder, drowning out all but the truth. "Face your demons," they echoed, and she understood then that the shadows were impressed not with the weight of her guilt but with the potential for her growth. "Together," she breathed, steeling herself. "We face this together." Before she could change her mind, Jenna lunged toward the grotesque figure, determined to grasp the truth with both hands. As their energies collided, a flicker of light sparked in the darkness, revealing a fragmented vision of her past. Faces she had long forgotten flashed before her eyes, punctuated by pain and sorrow, but just as the truth began to unravel before her, a shriek pierced the air, a rending noise that echoed through the church, shattering the moment. The darkness surged violently, forcing Jenna and Ethan back, yanking them as if they were leaves in a storm. The entity behind them twisted, its true form barely glimpsed amid the growing chaos. A final wail echoed, drenched in despair, mingling with Jenna's own rising fear. What had she unleashed? Was the truth worth the cost? She glanced at Ethan, the intensity of their shared moment buried beneath swirling dread. "If we're going to survive this," she said, heart pounding, "we must unlock what lies within both of us." And as the shadows closed in, Jenna held her breath, daring to confront the truth in all its terrifying glory. What would they find hidden in the depths of their past? Would this knowledge bring them closer together, or tear them apart? The clock ticked ominously, a countdown to a revelation they could not escape. The darkness roared as Jenna collided with the looming figure. A blinding light erupted, and for a moment, she was lost in a tapestry of memories woven in pain and regret. Faces blurred by time emerged one by one, friends she'd abandoned, family she'd neglected. Each visage flickered in and out like a dying star, igniting a storm of emotions within her. "Jenna!" Ethan's voice shattered through the chaos, pulling her back to the present. She could feel his panic resonate in the air, each beat of their shared heart echoing the uncertainty of their fate. Through the haze, she focused. "I have to remember, not just the bad, but the good too." There was a window of clarity amidst the turmoil, granting her a fleeting glimpse of what once was a vibrant life vibrantly lived. She felt warmth, love, laughter. Could she harness that to combat the darkness threatening to swallow them whole? Ethan glanced around, the terrifying shadows clawing at their heels. "What are you doing? We can't stay here." But Jenna held him firm, unwilling to yield to the encroaching panic. "I can't run from this anymore. This darkness, it needs to be defeated." With every ounce of determination resonating in her, she stood her ground, facing the swirling mass. "Show me." And just like that, a rush of chilling energy surged through her. The figure coalesced, now standing taller, more defined. It bore the same sorrowful expression, but there was a flicker of hope embedded deep within its gaze that beckoned Jenna closer. I must face what I've done, she whispered, her breath a soft tremor. As she spoke, fragments of her struggles cascaded through her mind. The sorrow of loved ones hurt, the weight of her own regrets. Each recollection swirled, each memory a sword to her heart, but rather than recoil in fear, she reached out. I acknowledge you. I see my mistakes. The darkness writhed, as if struck by her words, then it happened. A shudder rippled through the darkness, moments of her life flipping open before her, piece by piece. Birthdays, laughter, tears, warmth, and love, all blending blissfully into the haunted echoes of her past. For a split second, the figure hesitated, caught in the balance of restitution. Was it anger, or compassion? Jenna could not tell, but she leaned in closer, clasping her hands tightly around the void of darkness that wound its way through the church. I want to learn. I want to heal. The shadows froze, attention momentarily captured, and Jenna seized the moment. These mistakes don't define me, she stated, her voice steady now, booming through the church like a rallying cry. They are stepping stones. Each one has shaped me into who I am. I refuse to let my past dictate my future. Ethan was entranced, shock morphing into cautious hope. Jenna, is it working? Yet, as the words tumbled from her lips, something shifted. The darkness shrieked, a banshee-s wail echoing all around, resonating with Jenna's truth. Was it anger or recognition? The shadows ebbed and swayed, blending into a churning tempest. I don't know what you are. Jenna shouted against the roar, determination ringing clear. But you don't control me anymore. A sudden crack echoed through the room, and the darkness lunged forward, trying to reclaim its grip. Yet Jenna's own light shifted, illuminating the space around them, forcing shadows back. Even as they swirled hungrily at her heels, glimmers of hope danced within the tempest, and then silence. The creature halted mid-attack, momentarily stunned as a ray of light broke through, blinding them both, every fiber in Jenna's being vibrated. Ethan. She reached for him, pulling him closer, knowing they were now bonded by a shared revelation. Whatever is coming, we're ready to face it. But just as hope began to ignite, the walls shuddered, whispers gaining momentum, circling them like vultures. More needs to be confronted, the being intoned, its voice a deep resonant growl. Your past scars hold the manifestation of your future. What do you mean? Jenna gasped, fear creeping back into her voice, and then came the chilling answer, laden with the weight of inevitability. You have unlocked one door, but many remain shut. More truths await, truths you may wish to remain buried. The ground trembled. It's not over, Jenna murmured, dread pooling in her stomach, rippling with uncertainty. Is this a game? And as shadows reformed with renewed fury, Jenna could only watch in horror as the next phase of her reckoning began to unfold, leaving her with one sobering thought. What more would she have to confront to find her redemption? The echoes of the shadows grew louder, a cacophony of fragmented voices that twisted and twined through the air, wrapping around Jenna and Ethan like a suffocating shroud. Fear crept back into Jenna's heart, a cold, clenching fist that tightened with every moment. The entity's ominous declaration hummed in her ears, a reminder that her past was far from finished. Ethan, we need to do something. Jenna's voice quivered as the shadows drew closer, pulsing with a life of their own. She could feel her pulse quicken, a racing drumbeat of panic dictating her actions. Jenna, think. He urged, his hands gripping her shoulders tightly, grounding her. You've already shown them you're not afraid. Maybe you can find a way to push through whatever is coming next. But how could she? She felt their presence in her bones, doubt, guilt, and grief, festering and rising. Each feeling mirrored the faces of those she had wronged, each whisper a reminder of her failures. Fight back. She urged herself silently, invoking the energy of her past victories. But the darkness didn't relent. Instead, it brandished the memories she loathed, flinging them at her like daggers. You want to heal? The voice resonated through the church like thunder, vibrating against the walls. You must confront what you fear most. Only then can you be free. A flash of light ignited in her core. Jenna seized the moment, tapping into that flicker of hope she had summoned before. No! She shouted defiantly as if her voice could physically push back the swarm. You don't define me. You are a part of my journey, but you do not control my destination. The darkness hesitated, wavering like a shadow on the edge of the light. With a deep breath, Jenna closed her eyes, channeling the warmth of every joyful moment, every loving relationship she once nurtured. What were all the mistakes without the beauty of growth? She could feel strength rising within her, a blend of both light and dark and acceptance that made her feel more alive. Together, she murmured, reaching out for Ethan's hand. Their fingers intertwined, and in that touch, a spark ignited. Together. He echoed, his voice steady, infused with newfound courage. The shadows hissed, a quickening storm roiling at their feet, but Jenna steeled herself, pulling Ethan closer. As if in response to their united front, swirling images filled the air, each a flash from her past moments when laughter enlightened darkness, when warmth chased away loneliness. I've felt pain, but I've also felt joy. She declared, her voice stronger than ever. And I choose joy. The shadows revolted, a furious tempest swirling around them, but Jenna did not falter. Show us the way. She demanded, eyes blazing as she faced the dark figure looming at their center. Let us uncover the truths we need to confront. And then, the room erupted into chaos. An explosion of memories surged forth, blindingly bright yet darkly tinted. Jenna clutched Ethan's hand tighter, heart racing faster than ever. They were being pulled into another wave, a landscape of hurt, misunderstanding, even betrayal, yet laced with potential redemption. Each scene rolled before them like a disjointed film strip, disorienting yet oddly familiar. What is happening? Ethan yelled above the cacophony. She could see his bewilderment, the confusion etched across his face as they battled the tide. We're being shown. We need to face what we've buried deep. Jenna yelled back. Just stay with me, Ethan. Stay with me. Suddenly, a piercing scream broke through the noise, one that sliced through the confusion. It was familiar, one she hadn't heard in years. Jenna's heart dropped. Is that? She began, horror dawning within her. The chorus of darkness amplified, the shadows twisting to reveal a face she never thought she would see again, someone she thought was long gone, an echo of a friendship fractured by her choices. Jenna. It called, echoing through her soul. It's time to reckon our past. And just like that, the winds shifted, a new revelation dawning amidst the storm, one that threatened to unravel everything Jenna thought she knew. What truth lay hidden in the shadows of her past, waiting to be confronted next? Jenna's breath hitched as she locked eyes with the familiar face emerging from the shadows. It was Rachel, her once best friend, the vibrant spirit she had abandoned in a tide of grief and guilt. A face that once sparkled with joy now looked weary, shadowed by an unseen weight. The sight churned something deep in Jenna, a mix of regret and longing, a need to make amends that pulsed through her veins. Jenna, we were supposed to be together. Rachel's voice trembled, piercing through the storm of memories swirling around them. The darkness clung to her like a second skin, but even in that oppressive atmosphere, Jenna could sense a flicker of vulnerability. Rachel, I'm so sorry. Jenna cried, her heart crashing like waves in stormy waters. I never meant to leave you. I thought it was better for both of us. Better. Rachel spat back, anger and pain lacing her words. You turned your back on me. You let me go. Don't you see? This isn't just shadows. This is the weight of your choices. This is everything you've run away from. The storm intensified, howling as if the very walls of that ancient church were alive, shaking with the tension between them. Jenna glanced toward Ethan, who stood frozen, taking in the spectacle the distant face of the girl Jenna had betrayed now swirling into focus. Jenna. Ethan's voice broke through the tempest, his expression desperate. You can't ignore this. You need to face it. You both do. But how? Tears sprung to Jenna's eyes, not of despair, but of the pressure building in her chest. The force of Rachel's grief and anger mixed with her own surged like a tidal wave, threatening to drown her. Rachel, I was scared. I couldn't handle losing you, too. I was still lost in my own pain. Scared? Rachel's eyes went wide, a painful glimmer revealing the depth of her hurt. Scared is not an excuse, Jenna. You didn't just abandon me, you abandoned yourself. You lost your strength, your spark. But you cannot run anymore. You have to face this. The shadows flickered, blood-red tendrils reaching for them, and they swirled dangerously close. Jenna could smell the acrid scent of regret, heavy and palpable, as the reality of Rachel's words seeped in. I make mistakes, Rachel. I've carried that guilt like a burden, thinking it was easier to push it away. Whispers surrounded them, pushing Jenna to the edge of despair. But I'm here now. I want to make things right. I want to heal. With those words, a piercing silence fell upon the chaotic scene, momentarily halting the onslaught of memories. Jenna took a step closer to Rachel, who stood on the boundary of light and dark. Can you forgive me? Jenna's voice broke, trembling but loud against the roaring shadows. Can we start over? Rachel's face softened, but the darkness still clung to her. Forgiveness isn't so easy, Jenna. You need to confront the hurt. The only way out is through. Are you ready for that? Ready? Ethan chimed in, urgency in his tone. You have to do this together. You can't face it alone. Together, Jenna affirmed, looking deep into Rachel's eyes. How could she ever be whole again without confronting what she had lost? As the shadows writhed with newfound energy, Jenna felt a surge of determination. She knew she had to dig deeper, face not just Rachel, but the ripple effects of her own choices. They all swirled together, a tapestry of love and loss, woven by their intertwined fates. Let us face the truth. She shouted to the darkness. Show us what we need to see. In that instant, a blinding flash of light erupted from their hands, casting the darkness aside. Memories crystallized and exploded around them, shifting, merging into a vivid scene. And as the images began to take form, fragments of laughter, pain, and pivotal moments, Jenna's heart raced. She knew they were stepping into the abyss of her past, one that would reveal the sorrow, but also the potential for healing, yet as they pushed forward, Jenna's heart sank when she spotted something lurking within the swell of memories. A shadow darker than the rest, a presence creeping closer, whispering promises of dread. Are you ready to confront him next? Rachel's voice trembled, realization dawning in her eyes. Jenna's breath caught in her throat at the thought, what would they find? As the powerful undertow drew them closer to the impending nightmare, a chilling question slithered through her mind. Would she find redemption or destruction waiting just beneath the surface? The memories twisted around Jenna like ghostly vines, pulling her deeper into the landscape of her past. Shimmering images flickered before her, laughter shared in the sunlight, tears shed under moonlit skies, and one memory in particular that sent a jolt through her chest. The day Rachel had nearly drowned. Jenna could see it, feel the panic rising in her throat like bile. Do you remember that day? Rachel's voice cut through the chaos, each word a dagger that pierced Jenna's heart. You stood on the shore, and I was fighting for my life. You turned away, fearing your own demons more than you feared losing me. Jenna's eyes widened, and a lump formed in her throat. No, I was trying to, I thought. Her words faded in the face of the truth. It was easier to pretend you didn't care, Rachel pressed on, the shadows swirling like a tempest around her. But you did care, Jenna. And deep down, you knew. You left me to drown in my sorrow. The darkness deepened as Rachel's pain surged through the air, wrapping around Jenna like chains. She struggled to breathe, remembering every second of indecision, every moment she cursed her inability to act. That day haunted her like a specter, refusing to release its grip. "Stop!" Jenna yelled, anger blazing through her grief. "I can't change the past. I was broken, Rachel. I didn't know how to save you when I couldn't even save myself. Then we will face that brokenness together." Rachel cried, her voice commanding yet trembling. "But you cannot shy away. You need to confront the one who caused us both so much pain." As she spoke, the images began to swirl violently, culminating into a stark scene that loomed before them. A shadowy figure, a man cloaked in darkness, appeared amidst the memories, the very specter of Jenna's doubts and demons. Who are you?" Jenna's voice cracked as she took an unsteady step back. Fear clutched at her heart like icy fingers, binding her in a cocoon of terror. "I am what you refuse to face," the figure intoned, his voice smooth, laced with malice and familiarity. Jenna's heart raced as memories collided. He was the cause of her pain, the embodiment of all her regrets. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone," she shouted, tears spilling down her cheeks. The weight of her guilt bore down like a mountain, and she felt as if she might be crushed beneath it. The figure stepped closer, a smirk creeping across his shadowy face. "But you did, Jenna. You took the easy road. You walked away and let the darkness claim you both. Are you ready to feel the full impact of your cowardice?" "Shut up!" Rachel screamed, though her eyes mirrored Jenna's fear. "This is our moment. You don't scare us. We are stronger than this." But Jenna's heart twisted with doubt. "Am I?" she whispered, the question hanging in the air like a heavy fog. The darkness quivered as uncertainty coursed through her. The spectre's laughter echoed hollowly, mocking her, challenging her. "Face the truth of your choices, Jenna. Can you handle the consequences of your inaction?" As Ethan stepped closer, Jenna felt the support radiating from him, grounding her when she felt like she might float away into the abyss. "You don't have to do this alone," he urged. "You have the strength to confront him. We're in this together." "Rachel, I have to choose," Jenna hushed, her voice quaking as she steadied herself. "But what if it destroys me?" Rachel's gaze was firm, unwavering. "Then we'll rebuild together. But first, we face him." The air crackled with tense anticipation as Jenna drew in a sharp breath. "You think you can swallow me whole? Watch me, I won't back down." The shadows roared in response, swirling with fury around them. The specter reeled back slightly, the confidence faltering ever so slightly as Jenna stood tall, resolved to break the chains of her past. "Let me confront you, then," Jenna shouted defiantly. "Let me see the truth." With those words, the figure hissed, the shadows tightening into a vice around them, but Jenna felt a warmth blooming in her chest, tethering her to her resolve. Just as the darkness seemed all-consuming, a cleansing light flickered to life in her hands, intertwining with Rachel's and Ethan's, pushing back at the malevolent presence. "Together!" Rachel shouted, their voices merging into a roar of defiance against the night. But would their combined strength be enough? Would the light they created banish the shadows, or were they merely igniting a fire that would consume them all? Jenna's heart raced wildly. What if facing him, confronting the past, unravels everything we built just to survive? As the shadows screeched in agony, Jenna felt time stop. They stood on the precipice of discovery, with truth begging to break free from the binding darkness. "Are you ready for the storm?" The shadows hissed ominously, encroaching once more. Beneath that question lingered one even darker. What if the truth they sought was more horrifying than the darkness they fought? The air crackled with intensity as Jenna, Ethan, and Rachel stood before the looming figure, waiting for the tempest to break. The shadows writhed and hissed, almost alive with their threats of despair. This was the moment they had been waiting for, and yet, dread wrapped around Jenna like icy fingers. Together. Ethan urged, clenching her hand, grounding her. They had come this far, but with the spectre embodying her fears, the depth of hurt they were about to unveil threatened to engulf them all. Jenna released a shaky breath, looking at Rachel. "Are you with me?" "Yes," Rachel replied, her voice steady yet tinged with fear. "Face it head on. You're not alone." The figure's presence darkened, and with it, the shadows whispered, "What will you choose to confront?" "Truth," Jenna declared, her voice unwavering. "Face me." Light ignited in her heart, fueled by determination as memories cascaded around her. Laughter danced in the air mingled with tears of joy. She could feel Ethan's strength beside her, Rachel's warm resolve empowering her spirit. They were ready. As Jenna stepped forward, she heard Rachel echo, "The mistakes made don't define us. We have the power to rewrite this." The spectre sneered, "Can you really face the full measure of your cowardice? The hurt?" "Yes, I will." Jenna's voice rang out like a beacon. "Only through pain can we heal. I feel it all, the joy, the heartbreak, the regret, but I won't run anymore." With her declaration, waves of light burst from their united hands, illuminating the dark figure, making it tremble as if the very essence of her words began stripping away its power. "Darkness can't thrive where there's truth," Jenna shouted, feeling her confidence swell. "You've haunted me long enough. I refuse to be your puppet." The shadows recoiled with surprise, momentarily stunned by her defiance. Rachel stepped forward beside her, rallying the energy swirling around them. "Face what you've done, Jenna. Heal the hurt you've inflicted. Forgiveness starts with you." "Forgiveness," Jenna repeated, sentiment piercing through her heart like a hot blade followed by a frigid truth. "I need to forgive myself." Each word gaining weight, Jenna felt hope unfurl deep within. "I acknowledge the past and I'm not afraid anymore." As realization washed over her, the figure wavered, the shadows swirling like a furious storm. Jenna could see it now, it was not just darkness, but a mirror reflecting her own turmoil, the very essence of her greatest fears. Truth and turmoil, shoulder to shoulder. "I choose to embrace this pain," Jenna began, her voice steady as she faced her past. "I lost Rachel once, but I'm here now. I won't lose myself again." The light surged as memories erupted around them, the tears, the laughter, the choice moments of love and betrayal. It all seeped in, swirling into focus. This was the nexus of her truth. With every reminiscence conquered by their unity, the spectre faltered. "You think confronting me will free you?" it hissed. But this time, there was uncertainty, a tremor of loss in its voice. "Yes. I needed you to break free," Jenna shouted, channeling her fury into clarity. "I needed you to evaporate. I deserve to forgive myself." A fissure rippled through the church, light exploded, engulfing them in a blinding glow as their shared willingness to confront pain broke through the fog of despair. The shadows shrieked, a wailing protest of something long imprisoned, and perhaps they felt their grip on Jenna weakening. "Let it go," Rachel urged, glancing at Ethan, their hands still intertwined, a bond unbreakable. "Jenna, let it go." "I will," Jenna steadied, a knowing calm washing over her. As the confrontation heightened, she grasped a fragile strength and understanding that though she could never change the past, she could rewrite her narrative. The shadows twisted, retreating further as she transformed sorrow into license for joy. "I'll cherish the memories while learning from my wrongs, but you won't control me anymore." Then it happened, a wave of brilliance swept through the room as love, acceptance, and forgiveness shattered through the darkness, scattering it like autumn leaves caught in a brisk wind. Jenna released everything, the pain, the guilt, the fear, into the light. And with that release, she felt herself evolving, bathing in warmth and clarity. She turned to Rachel, tears in her eyes. "I'm here. I'm sorry." The touch between them ignited a shimmering connection, forgiveness enveloped them, sweeping the darkness away. As the last shadows dissipated, the room transformed. Light flooded through the broken stained glass, casting vibrant colors onto the floor, an ethereal painting of what remained. The specter, mere remnants of what once was, twisted and faded into nothingness, a long-held burden finally relinquished. Jenna, Rachel, and Ethan stood amidst the stillness, breathing in the victory of connection. The darkness had buzzed like a storm, yet light washed over them now, wrapping them in warmth. "Are we free?" Jenna whispered, heart surging with hope. "Yes, we are," Rachel replied, a smile breaking across her face. Jenna turned to Ethan, who nodded, pride glittering in his eyes. Together they stepped forward, leaving the remnants of fear behind. As dawn broke over the horizon, a new day of possibilities bloomed. They were changed, intertwined in a bond stronger than before. "One step at a time," Jenna said softly. The three of them stepped outside, hand in hand, ready to embrace the world ahead, a world bathed in light, where the past could no longer wield its grasp, only the promise of brighter tomorrows. And as the sun rose, illuminating their path, Jenna finally felt the weight lift, a new clarity guiding her forward. Now was the moment to forge their destinies anew. But friends, before you go, I need you to do me a solid right now. You need to subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. And listen, flood the comments section below with your thoughts and theories about this wild conclusion. If you truly love this journey, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see it too. Your support means the world. Let us keep this community thriving.